Saturday night's main event. This show, guys, I don't know about you. This show didn't feel like wrestling. Not because there wasn't wrestling on it. Not because the people weren't giving their best effort. Look, I'm glad about the NBA. Look, I'm glad the Knicks won. Look, I used to be a diehard Knicks fan. I used to love the Knicks in the 90s. Then I got burnt out after that fight they had in 96 when they were about to go into the last few rounds of the NBA Finals. And they blew it because they started fighting. That turned me off completely back in the 90s, and I haven't cared about the Knicks in years. But knowing they finally won, guys, 1973, I was 2 years old when the last time the Knicks won a championship in New York. And I'm glad about it. But I'm going to be honest here. Was this about wrestling? Or was this more about the WWE using the Knicks' notoriety now because they won the NBA Finals to get more interest in the show so people will watch? This was the thing I felt. And understand this. We had okay matches, but there were some situations where we got blood. And 3 of those matches, there was blood. 3 matches. But let me ask you this. I'm saying this to you. I know you guys are going to care more about the wrestling. But if you're watching this for the first time as a beginning to learn to be a pro wrestling fan, what do you thought was more important? Was it the pro wrestling? Was it the storytelling? Was it the in-ring work? Or was it seeing how much they were trying to hype the Knicks, which hopefully they can grab a bit of it and put it towards their show without using the show? Let's open up the women's tag championships. Fatal Influence, Fallon Henley and Lacey Lane versus the current champs. And I gotta say this, and I do have a picture of it. And understand I'm not trying to bring nothing up. No, I'm not. Because I actually like Paige. I actually like Saraya. I think she busts her ass to get back into wrestling again, and she straightened her ass out. Hopefully she will never have the same problems that she had before. But I'm going to be honest here. If you didn't notice at the end of the match, because Paige, she got rolled up, and she was being held by Lacey. But when the match was over, they lost. And the match wasn't that bad. There was good work from Lacey and Fallon against Paige and Brie. And you want to know who the best between Brie and Nick? I'm about to say Nikki. Brie and Paige? Paige. Paige wrestles better than Brie. I'm sorry, she just does. She looks better. She wrestles better. But she kind of made a bit of a mistake that Brie doesn't have. When the match was over, you see Fallon Henley with Lacey and a JC walking back, and it was JC who caused the loss because she managed to push a Paige backwards, which the ref didn't see, and she pinned a 1, 2, 3. When she got up, Paige's top was out of adjustment, and her nip was out. The girl, and I think I got a shot of it. I know I got a shot of it. It's in my face. Paige's nipple was showing partially. And I'm saying this as a wardrobe malfunction, but then at the same time not, because if you don't know, just in case you guys don't know, in pro wrestling for women, it is very easy for their nether regions and their breasts could be seen much more easy than normal. So what women usually do, they try their best to make the areas as inconspicuous as possible, either using very bright colors which can't define the shape of their vagina. I'm being nice. And when it comes to the breasts, what many women have done, like Jade Cargill has done, like Jordan Grace has done, like, let me see, who else? Gail Kim did, ODB did, and several other women who have large breasts, or semi-large breasts. What they do, they wear pasties. Just like a long time ago that strippers who used to be in strip clubs where they don't want to show them, but they want to be sexual and they want to show the breast but not the nipple completely at all, they will wear pasty over it. Some type of fabric that would be over the nipple and it would protect the nipple from being seen. Women in pro wrestling, many of them have understood this and have transitioned to it. Now, mind you, not all of them get the right color because you can't always get the right color material to cover up the areola, as it was called. But there are some women that just don't do it. Paige is one of them. And she decided to go without something covering it just to make sure that it may just pop out. And you can partially see it. Here it is again. I'm going to tell you this. I'm not mad that it happened, of course. Who wouldn't want to see a nip? But I'm hoping after this that Paige will re-see this and say, oh, damn, my nip was out. And she didn't pay attention. I think she didn't. Because her bra, her top, was still very out of whack. So I don't think she fully knew that her nipple was possibly out. And I could be wrong. I don't think I am because the picture does seem that the shape of her areola is there. Her nipple there. But they won. Next. No DQ. Dominic and a JD McDonough versus a Danhausen. This is where it felt not like pro wrestling, not like a joke. It felt more like the NBA because it wasn't the fact that we had the mini-me's of Danhausen and mini-Hausens. No, it was that we had Carl Thompson. Now, I don't usually keep up with NBA much at all. But I do know about Carl Thompson, at least a little bit. He's one hell of a... I don't know stats, but I do know he's been pretty good over the last couple of years. And he did well here for the NBA Finals. So I do know at least that. And I'm like, did I really need to see an NBA player here? Was it necessary? You couldn't use someone from the back? Look, you got so many wrestlers in the back that they could have used in this position. Hell, there were NXT wrestlers they could have called up just to have this one moment with Danhausen, and they could have done it to bring over a new face into the company that might get over. No, they used an NBA player in this situation. And yes, he did a good choke slam on JD. He did a decent choke slam on Dom, but it's not the point. The point is, this just didn't really feel like wrestling. And then throughout most of the night, if you didn't notice, there were so many celebrities from football and mainly basketball that was there. And I know you're going to say, dude, what do you expect? The NBA Finals only ended a little while ago. Everyone's still hyped for it. Yes, I know. But how much hype are you going to put in Saturday night's main event? Look, I know they had the game there, but I want to see pro wrestling. I want to care more about pro wrestling. I don't want to care more about another sport right now. Let's make it clear. WWE is not doing that well. Let's make it clear that they have not sold that many tickets for SummerSlam. And with 2 weeks left, they're desperate. And now they're using the NBA players in the hopes of trying to drum up more people to go and watch by going to the stadium and actually buying tickets for SummerSlam. This is what happens. I said this so long ago. You don't know what's going to happen when Vince is gone. You don't know what's going to happen. How WWE, Silver Lake, is going to function without Vince. And I'm not saying 100% at all that Vince should have stayed. No. Everyone was just hoping Vince would be gone. Only thing I said, and I still stand by it, we don't know what we're going to get. Because we're not corporate, they don't care about wrestling. Again, my catchphrase. No one says I'm wrong. WWE does not make wrestling. They use wrestling to make money. There is a difference. Making pro wrestling means you're putting your heart, your soul in it, and meaning that everything else is secondary. Advertisement is secondary. Merch is secondary. Making sure that celebrities are not the focus. And then there is using wrestling to make money. where all of what I just said is the focus. Moving on. Lyra Valkyria and Bayley. Now, I hadn't really kept a good eye on this about when Lyra had turned and now they're enemies of each other. But I'm going to say this. I think I got a shot of her. She's in my face. That girl looked like she'd been drinking. Look, I don't drink. I rarely have ever drank in my life. The most I ever drank legitimately, knowingly. I accidentally, as a little kid, drank vodka with orange juice, maybe twice. Because my half-brother used to love vodka with orange juice. And I drank his vodka orange juice twice by accident. Because he left it out, I saw it, I drank it, I went and got crazy, and then I fell the hell out. That's happened with a little kid under maybe 6 or 5 years old. But consciously, the most I've ever drank in my life, completely, is 30 times. I just don't care about drinking. I don't. But I've grown up around everyone who has. I've grown up against people who are alcoholics, those who drink their ass into a stupor but not near alcoholics, some who does it once in a while and a few got tipsy. She made herself look drunk. I wasn't saying she was drunk, but she made herself look drunk. Bright red in the face. Drunk, which was good. That showed at least she had some range of making herself look a little crazy. Even her eyes look bloodshot. Now, when the match happened, there was one major issue. Well, I should crank that back. The first thing that was a major issue, where was the replay of their feud? Or the beginnings of the feud? Why didn't they show a video, a vid pack of how she turned on Bayley? No. What did they do? Advertisement. That was more important than making sure that Bayley, who's one of the more prominent women on the show, with Lyra, who now has just changed her character, looking crazed, doesn't have anything for the people at home. That was sad. And then the second one, Lyra busted her nose. I believe I also got a shot of that in my face. I'm not sure I'm going to put it in or not. But Bayley, when she wanted to hit her somewhere here in the chest, she nailed her in the nose and she just started bleeding. Just started bleeding. That's the second person. The first person was failing because she got a good cut right here and she was bleeding pretty good. I don't remember where she got it. Probably, I think they did the steel step. I think she did hit the steel steps. Or was it the ring post? I can't remember which one. But one of them, that's when she got the cut in the face. But here, Fallon got busted in the nose because it looks like Bayley hit her right here with the point of the elbow right there to her face. And she just started bleeding on and off during the match. But what was interesting to see was at the end of the match, and Lyra didn't cheat. She just went batshit crazy and put a bulldog choke on Bayley to the point where Bayley spit out her, pretty much her, what is it? What do they call that gum? There's a certain gum, if you guys don't know. Right now, there is a certain gum that has a strong amount of caffeine in it. I can't remember the name of it. And people in sports now chew on that to get a bit of a boost of energy or high. That's what they now do in pro wrestling now. Before they used to drink or inject. Now they're chewing on gum that has, if I remember, like a stimulant, like caffeine in it. I can't remember which sport uses it. One of the sports uses it. I think it's baseball. I'm not sure. I could be wrong. You guys can tell me below if you know. But that's what they're doing. You can see Bayley dropping 2 pieces of gum out of her mouth because she was out. And then when it was all over, the bulldog choke on her again, which was a good step. And then you see Lyra just splat her on the steps afterward. Good. But they needed their vid pack. They needed a vid pack. They needed a vid pack in the very opening of this to show people at home. And if anybody at the stadium is watching, MSG, they should see it. And there was nothing. All about NBA. Moving on. The last match was Punk and Cody versus Gunther and Sammy. If Gunther and Sammy win, it is a four-way at SummerSlam. Let's make it clear. This was a good match. It was. It was a good match. At one point, unfortunately, Punk got busted open right here in the head. No, in the nose, right here, just above his nose or near his eye. Can't remember where. Other than that, that was the third time when we saw blood. But it was Nick Aldis that interfered in that match because of what Gunther had been doing. He pulled out the ref. That was because Little Nate got nailed during that match. Gunther used the title on Cody, was about to pin Cody, and it was Nick Aldis who grabbed him, and that's it. The secondary ref pulled him out of the ring, nailed Gunther in the head, and cost Gunther the match. So, well, also Sammy the match as well. Because I know for a fact Sammy's not going to be taking that very well, knowing that he lost his shot because of Nick Aldis' anger towards Gunther. I don't know where they're going to go with Nick. No. Nick Aldis with Gunther, that must be a match. If they don't do a match, it's stupid. It's stupid. I don't know where they're going to go with Sammy now. Look, I said this before. We knew that Sammy was going to be a transitional champion. There was no lying about it. It was obvious they were going to do it. But they did it within 9 days. That was wrong. That was just flat out wrong. They could have let him keep the title long enough just at the time of SummerSlam. Or let him carry it into SummerSlam, and they could have done a triple threat between Punk, Sammy, and Cody. And it would be whatever it's going to be. But the key here is this. Sammy now, as of this moment, is in a holding pattern. What is he doing now? Unless they're going to do a triple threat, because Gunther is going to go for a Nick Aldis, and Adam Pearce is going to be the one that's going to set it up, there is no reason for him to even be included in anything. He had another chance. He blew his chance. It don't matter. But what does that mean for Sammy? He's that over with the fans, and people want to see what they're going to do with him. If they do nothing with him, it made no sense to strip the damn title off of him. It was just dumb. Dumb. I'm just being honest. It didn't matter. Now, let's get to the final thing. This is where, again, this show didn't feel like wrestling. It felt like something for the NBA. And more than just feeling like something that's just for the NBA, it felt like WWE was legitimately doing everything they could to make the most important person, Bronson, the MVP, the captain of the team of the Knicks. He earned it. Don't get me wrong. He earned this type of popularity. He earned it, especially that he has a broken arm. But he earned it. He worked his ass off. He got the championship. Doesn't deserve anything else but total praise and what he got. But I'm going to be honest here. They could have done this in the opening of the show. Hell, they could have done it on Raw. I'm being honest. They could have saved this for Raw and gave him that and still done the same segment here. But here they decided to do this. You had Roman Reigns. First, you had this long 4 or 5 minute video package for every person that has ever won a championship from New York. And for New York, for basketball, for baseball, for football. Now, it's cool. But 5 straight minutes. And then Bronson comes out. He meets up with Roman. They both walk out. They do the hands up multiple times. Finally getting in the ring. And then Roman Reigns at 10:02 grabs a mic and says, we need to see the situation here. Need to acknowledge the one that needs to be acknowledged. One who is the tribal chief can acknowledge the one who's the king of New York. Now, it was a nice segment. And then they gave him a title. I believe I got a shot of that into my face. But here's the thing. And I'm like, you already had Charles Thompson. You already got Charles Towns. Okay, it was bad enough. But it was somewhat alright. Then you have Bronson here. He gets the title. You think it would just be over with that? No. We now get, what was the guy's name? Hannaford. I believe his name is Hannaford. Hannibert. Like I said, I don't keep up with the NWA anymore. Hannibert, who's supposed to have been his rival for Bronson. And then you get Seth kicking the head off of Roman, and Bronson decides, you know what, this ain't right. You're going to try and curb stomp him? I'm going to stand right in front of you with a broken arm. Arm's broken here. With the title on, no, was it this side? No, this side, with a broken arm. Holding the title in his right arm, being told beforehand, do not interfere, but now he's standing there, and then Roman nails him in the head, in the face, with a Superman punch, Seth, and then they walk off. But then, when it was all said and done, you think this is finished, and it should be. No. The trophy comes out. And then Roman's holding it up, and it's in my face as well. This did not feel like wrestling. This feels like a glorified begging people, look at us. Look, we are honoring the NBA. Look, our own wrestlers loves the NBA. Please come to SummerSlam. Buy the tickets. We're only getting 30,000. We need at least 70,000 people, 60,000 people to come. I'm throwing that back in my face again. I am like this. This is the truth, guys. Look, I'm a pro wrestling fan, first and foremost. Yes, I can still love football. I can still love baseball, basketball. I used to love basketball. I used to love the Knicks. Okay? But I'm a wrestling fan. And all I've been getting lately from WWE is advertisement, advertisement, and advertisement, and celebrities, and more celebrities. And it just feels like the wrestling is just not there. I'm being honest here. All they had, and I've been saying this for quite a while, is the bloodline. Remember what I used to say? More than a year ago, up to 2.5 years ago, the bloodline and the Judgment Day is all they got. Everything else has been built under them to a certain extent when it came to Raw and SmackDown. When you got rid of the Judgment Day and didn't make them important anymore, everything below there just fragmented. And all you had left was the storylines that could be somewhat woven into the bloodline. And when the bloodline ended, you had nothing. It felt empty. And then when Cody took over, didn't make it any better. It didn't. Yes, we love Cody. Yes, he finally finished his story. But what type of story did you have built under Cody? Almost nothing. Every other story for the Intercontinental Championship, the U.S. Championship, to a certain extent, didn't feel 100% important. Because either you made the Intercontinental Championship not feel that important because you had it on Dom for so long, and then the U.S. title, when you started doing the U.S. Challenge, and yes, Sammy did well, then you got Carmelo Hayes did pretty good, and even Ilya Dragunov did pretty well as well. But those are open challenges, not real storytelling. And all three of those guys I just mentioned, Sami Zayn, Carmelo Hayes, now Trick Williams is U.S. champion. Now you haven't even seen Dragunov in a bit. But when you see the situation in the WWE, what do you have that's important? Who feels relevant? Very few people. They're pushing Danhausen so hard right now. And yes, he's good for comic relief. But he's not that important. If you're going to push something that's supposed to be important, that's the most best comic relief you have, you got R-Truth, who's the current tag champion with Damian Priest, and they're not really that important. The tag division for the men is not great. You just put Fatal Influence on the women's tag championship. The question is, who are they going to work with? The same people. The IC championship doesn't feel that incredibly important. Don't know about the women's IC championship. That's not really feeling that important either. And the US title doesn't feel 100% important either. All these titles should have some level of relevancy and importance. Yes, the women's world championship is feeling okay. But I believe Io Sky is going after that. Rhea is not available right now. But then you got Charlotte Flair and you got... Uh, Jade is not a great wrestler. And I'm not being disrespectful to her. I still believe she needs more work. I wish she had gone to NXT instead of on the main roster. They went by her reputation. And what did I tell you guys? What did I keep telling you guys for so long ago? If a promotion focuses on the person's reputation more than trying to build them on top of the reputation, it always goes bad. And look at Jade Cargill. She doesn't look good. So right now, the company just feels not very interesting. Yes, NXT is still doing semi-alright, and I'm still reviewing it, but there's a reason why I don't review Raw or SmackDown. It just don't. I still watch it on most of the time, or I watch clips when I can, but the company just doesn't feel good. And I believe right now, Alex agrees, JD agrees, and I believe Solomon agrees, along with Jesse agreeing, that just WWE doesn't feel as important. So this show feels more for the NBA than it does for pro wrestling. But this is just me. You guys tell me below. Peace.